Okay, I think the recording's going on right now. So the what I wanted to talk to you about was that in February of 2022, right? Our thesis is that, hey man, um, prior to February 2022, we thought we strongly believe that Bitcoin was going to go to 200,000, and at minimum it can go to at minimum go to 100,000, and by February of 2022, right, the market was falling, and we did not see that. And now we can look back and realize that November 2021 was the peak of the last bull market, right? Because we can look back in the history on the charts and see that. But at the time, when we discussed it in February of 2022, that
Yeah, it
was
was
still
always still Bitcoin 100 grand, right? We were all still
yeah,
thinking $100,000
yeah,
Bitcoin, right?
yeah. That's why I kept saying it on Twitter that, hey man, don't, it's still bull market, don't buy anything. We're looking for opportunities to sell. But in February, when I made that, after our discussion, I made that 3 hour emergency broadcast
Okay, so
video.
why did I say that, right? Is
Okay.
because I was thinking our target. There were two. There were two. Um, you say, "Hey Siri, stop the music." Yeah, my Apple speaker just started playing music. Anyway, so the
You
reason,
you mean the government speaker was playing
yeah,
music?
the government speaker is playing,
Yeah,
just started playing music.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. The CIA speaker was
yeah,
playing. Yeah.
yeah.
Okay. Okay. Go back to your thesis
Oh, all
about
right.
what?
So the thesis, you got to remember the run up. There were two. There was a price target, but there was also a time, right?
Yes.
And the price target was $100,000, right? Remember, we were even
Yeah.
thinking 200,000, right, or
Yeah.
150,
Yeah.
or
That.
whatever, right?
Yeah. Our
But
target was 200,000 and a minimum of 100,000.
yeah, yeah, and it wasn't just us, right? Like
Yeah.
everybody, with Raul Paul, like Plan B, all of these
Yeah.
guys.
Yeah. They were all
So
saying $1 million Bitcoins.
yeah, Max
Yeah.
Kaiser, two and change, So,
Yeah.
all right. But I had another target. It wasn't by um, it wasn't by price. It was by time, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And that was based on how many how many days or how many months after the halving did the price peak, right?
Yeah.
Based on the previous cycles, based on the previous halving. So there was a price target we had, but there was also a
A
time,
time. Yeah. A time. I think
right?
you said it was like when we discussed it. What is it? Around 6 months, or there was a
It was, yeah,
period
yeah, yeah, but yeah,
historically
it was
after
a
the Bitcoin halving, within X amount of time, that we could expect the price to go up.
all right. And that time, I remember I did the calculation, right? I don't have it in front of me at the moment, but I
Hmm.
remember the time that I had was October latest, right? I
Yeah.
mean, it was based on the first cycle. I think it was a little early, or September, and it was October, right?
Yeah.
And I kept thinking that, okay, in October we were still only like 50 grand. I say, hey, even though the time is here, the
Yeah.
the price is still way off, right? So we held, right? I said, okay, maybe give it a little more time, because maybe the cycle's slower this time, right?
Yeah.
Um, but actually, that model was actually spot on. I mean, I'm not going to say spot on. The high was November, but when I did the calculation based on, I came up with like October, the middle of October, which is,
Yeah.
I would say, close enough, right? I mean,
Yeah.
if you're
Yeah. Within
within a
a.
month of a time, yeah, it's not just by price, but also by, I think if you are within a number of months, then that is good. That's also pretty
Yeah.
good. If you sell like within a month before or after the top, there's nothing, you can't be upset about that, right?
Yeah.
um,
If you're buying and selling within a few months of the top or the bottom, I don't think you're doing bad.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. So October comes and goes, November comes and goes. Now we're in December. All right.
Yeah,
And I'm in Dubai. I'm like saying, all right, I based on my model, the price should have reached our target in November, right, or in October, and it's
yeah,
now December, right? And I was still
yeah,
in Dubai. I couldn't really trade. I didn't have my hardware wallets with me, so uh, I. But I said I made the. So when the evidence showed that, hey, my thesis, my plan isn't working out, right, either
yeah,
by time or by
yeah,
price, that's
yeah,
when I called you up and said, hey, Ty, we have to now start to consider we could be wrong, right?
yeah, yeah, yeah. I remember that
Because our
conversation. We had it like the first week of February.
yeah, I think it was at the end of January. It's the middle of January. It's when I got back from Dubai. I called and I said that, hey, I'm selling
Yeah,
because I have to consider that my thesis could be wrong because we're now at 40. We're in the 40s, right? Bitcoin's now in the
yeah,
40,000s in January, and if we were going to hit 100,000 or more, that should have happened in October. It's now January,
yeah,
and we're nowhere near that. So how much evidence do you need to start to consider that you could be wrong, right? That we could be
yeah,
wrong,
yeah,
right? And so that's why we started scenario playing. Like, what if we're wrong?
yeah. And that's when I made that 3 hour emergency broadcast video about taking profits, because that's the first time I ever made an emergency broadcast video. Because that
Yeah,
was on, I'm looking at the video right now online as we're talking, and that was on February 8th. That was crypto investing
yeah. So we
video
had that
number
conversation in
217.
January.
Yeah,
We really we had that conversation privately,
yeah,
like when I got back, like while right after I got back from Dubai, right? It was actually it should have been even 2 weeks earlier than that because I got COVID in Dubai,
yeah,
and
yeah.
I was supposed to come home, and then I got stuck there, quarantined for another 2 weeks, right? Because I couldn't get on
Yeah,
the plane.
okay, okay. Yeah, you're right.
Um,
Because I remember talking to you while you were in quarantine. You were stuck at the hotel because you couldn't fly back to the US.
yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
That's
But they
right.
asked you where
So
your
I
wife and daughter was at, and you're like, they went home already. I'm still stuck here.
yeah, because they got negative, and
Yeah,
I got stuck with the positive test, right?
yeah,
So
yeah. So that
um,
was what, the middle of January?
that was the middle of the beginning of January, I think. The first half of January. I don't remember exactly when, but it was. I was
Hmm.
stuck in quarantine, and it was like I was already supposed to be home in Texas, right? If I
Yeah,
was able to get on the flight, but I couldn't. And then we had that conversation while I was still in Dubai, and I took action immediately. Like the plane landed. I was supposed to spend the night in Houston, right? And
yeah.
then I decided to just go home. Like
Oh,
I figured, like, I was jet lagged, and then I was like, you know
okay,
what? Why don't I just start driving home now because there's no traffic. If I wait until the
okay.
morning, I'm gonna get
Okay,
stuck
so
in
so so
traffic.
I
So
I I remember now the cause for me to make that 3 hour emergency broadcast video about taking profits, video number 217. Um, I remember now. At that time, when you and I talked about it, like two, two or maybe 3 weeks. Okay, at maximum 3 weeks. Okay, between 2 to 3 weeks before I made that 3 hour emergency broadcast video about taking profits, the price was at the bottom of a weekly long term trend channel. And I was not comfortable making a video and I was not comfortable selling at the bottom of the trend channel. I just don't like doing that. I like to sell, near the top of the trend channel, not at the bottom of the trend channel. And I remember now that the price broke through the channel.
yeah,
The
because I
price broke
remember when
through
I
because
sold when I
you,
sold, the price just dropped right after that. When I
yeah,
took
yeah, the
action to sell, the
price,
price just tanked, and that's why you
yeah,
waited a few more weeks to wait until
yeah,
the next
yeah,
bump.
to
Yeah,
see, yeah, because if the price bounced back up, then there's no reason for us to sell at the bottom of the trend channel. But then when the price broke through, that's when I realized, hey man, at this moment, even though we're not supposed to sell at the bottom of the trend channel, and the price just now broke through the trend channel, right? There is still an opportunity to make life-changing profits. There's still an opportunity. If we don't sell now and take profits now, then we're going to miss this opportunity completely in this bull market. So even
Yeah.
though we don't want to sell near the bottom of the trend channel, there is still an opportunity to change your life.
Yeah.
There's still enough
So
money
anyway,
in the
that was the whole reasoning that, hey, like our thesis. Well, first, like, we had to admit,
yeah
and this is what was the hard part, and what I think many people that that I spoke to had a hard time doing, is to admit that they could be wrong, right? And
yeah
and that's the name of the game. It's like, okay, yeah, we all wish we could have sold in October or November, right? But
yeah that's not
we
realistic,
didn't.
man.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah
yeah, exactly, exactly. It's not realistic most of the time, right? Some people got
yeah
it, or so they say.
yeah.
Um,
If
but
it is, it's just by luck, man. Because how are you going to know where the top is at? Nobody knows.
that's right. That's right. That's
You
right.
know, our
So
goal is just to
we had a
sell.
look. We had a thesis. We had a thesis that it was going to 100,000 by the end of 2021, and that
Yeah
was wrong. And it
yeah
was it was you know like, I don't know anyone who thought that the top was going to be 68,000, right? I mean,
yeah
like, it was all like 100 or 200 or 300. Like, I don't know anyone in the community who's been doing this for a long time to that was saying it's only going to reach. It's not even going to do it's only going to do like a 3x from the previous all-time high, right?
yeah
Like, I don't know anybody who had that view. Um, but anyway, we were wrong, and I think it was a good move to that we considered the possibility that we were wrong, and we took our life-changing profits, and
yeah
we left enough in the market in case we were right, right? Like, we were
yeah
covered in
yeah.
both scenarios. Like,
In
we
both directions.
in both
Okay.
directions, and that's what I think people don't realize. We're not trying to pick the top or pick the bottom.
Yeah, we're just
We're
trying to be
trying
near.
to.
That's why in our cryptocurrency investing blueprint course, we say that for the beginning students, our goal is to help them, show them how to capture 1/4 of the trend in a bull
Yeah,
market,
yeah,
and then for the guys that are experienced like you and I, our goal is to capture like 1/3 to 2/3
yeah.
of the
Yeah,
trend.
and there's a portion of our crypto that we're gonna just hodl. We have our hodl bucket
Yeah,
that we're just gonna hold that through multiple cycles, because we
yeah,
believe in the space long term, right? We believe crypto is going to evolve into a major asset class within a decade or two,
yeah,
and we want to capture that entire move with a portion of our money, right? With the correct
yeah,
bet size, right?
yeah,
So this is just, when we take profits, the life changing profits, is to really, ensure that we are going to be able to take care of our family. We're life changing means that it's an amount of profit that it permanently changes your life, regardless of what's going to happen in the market next.
yeah, yeah,
That's what we are trying to do. We want to take out profits enough that it no longer matters what happens in the market, at least as
yeah.
far as our life is concerned, right? As far as like what we want to do in our lives.
Okay, let's go back to the part about that we kept saying all of 2022, most of 2022, we kept saying that we want to wait until the end of 2022, right? We wanted when Bitcoin was near 20,000, right? Based on the volume by price chart, because normally people look at volume by time. Most people do not look at volume by price. And we looked at the volume by price chart,
Uh-huh.
and it shows the trading volume at each price level. And we did not see a lot of trading volume between, let's say, between 12,000 and 20,000, right? So we expected that, hey, when price falls down to 20,000, we, 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 we
Well,
projected that,
okay. So my thesis was, once 32,000 was broken,
yeah,
there was no more support all the way down to 13,000. right? Because
Yeah.
30,000 in the mini bear market we had in 2021, the sell off, and it was the I think it was the China sell off because they banned Bitcoin mining, and that
Yeah.
ended the run basically in April, right? That was
Yeah.
the sell off that happened in May and April, and then um, like that bottomed around 30,000 or so, and then we
Yeah.
recovered. But I was looking at the chart, and it says, "Hey, once we clear 30,000, there's nothing left all the way until 13,000, 12, 13,000, which
Yeah.
is the launch of the bull market in 2020, right? There was the launch of the bull market after it was the March of 2020 was the COVID crash, and then the Fed started printing money, and
Yeah.
that sent us to the moon, right? That is what
Yeah.
sent us to the moon, all the money printing.
Yeah.
But the downside to that was it was a rocket ship up ride, but then there's no support from
Yeah.
that launch all the way. Like there's very little support that will hold us on the way down when we come down until we hit 13,000. And even now, even though like FTX, we got down to 16.
Yeah.
Um, I don't. I mean, what other bad news could be coming out, right? Like even though the price didn't go all the way down to 13, but not yet, right? I mean,
Yeah.
we don't know that yet. We're still in the bear market. We don't know. I don't think it's. I don't think anyone can confidently say 16,000 was the low, right?
Yeah. Yeah. So what I'm saying is that we thought that it was going to go, you know, drop very easily from 20,000 down to 12,000 because there's not a lot of trading volume there based on the volume by
Yep.
price charts, right? But I noticed that in June 2022, if you look on the weekly charts, there's two massive red candles, and that those two red candles came from the Celsius bankruptcy, right?
Yeah.
Was that
Yeah.
it? Yeah. So
That's
so
right.
but basically that area that time period where the market crashed really hard because of the Celsius bankruptcy, whether it was sometime I think it was June. I could be off on the dates, but that Celsius, we all remember that the crash came from the Celsius bankruptcy, right? And not just Celsius, but Voyager, BlockFi.
Voyager,
Let's just
BlockFi,
call it
all
the
of them.
lending market crash, the
Yeah,
price
the
of the market.
3AC was
Yeah,
another big. Yeah.
yeah. So it went through all the way down to 18,000 in June. The low was on June 3rd, around the middle of June. The price hit a low of 17,622. Let's just say 17,600, right? And then I personally expected that from there it was going to bounce back up and then continue down all the way down to 12,000. Since based on the volume by price chart, I did not see a lot of
And it
trading
still
volume
may,
there.
right? Like
Yeah, and it's still
who's
May.
to say?
But but but
Who's
here's
to say that
what
it won't?
but here's what I'm thinking.
Uh-huh.
From June until the FTX crash in November, the
Yeah.
market to me pretty much just went sideways. Now you might
Yeah,
say,
that's right.
hey,
That's right.
yeah, you might say, hey, Ty, it's just it can still go down to 12,000. Yes, I agree with you. It can still go down to 12,000, right, based on the volume by price chart. But what I'm seeing is that do we need to reconsider our thesis about buying bitcoins in between the 12, 13, 14, 15,000 range, right? Because the price crashed to
I,
17,000.
I no, I'm thinking that's not like I'm thinking we start even if the price does go to 12,000.
Yeah,
I'm thinking we should because 12,000 from 20 here
yeah, it's not much different.
is not much different, right? So
Yeah,
I'm
because
dollar cost like
yeah,
I'm saying that it is time to start buying the dip, right?
yeah,
Even though I still think that um we could get 12,000. I don't know, nobody knows, but
yeah,
even if that's the case that
yeah,
we do okay, so if, let's say, 12,000 is the bottom, right?
yeah,
Then between 20 and 12, if you get an average price of
15.
15, 16,
It's still
17, something
good.
like
It's
that,
still good. Yeah.
that's still good, right? I mean,
Yeah.
I mean, we don't have to get. We're not going to get 12. Like, I really don't see us going to below 10, right? Like, I
Well,
don't see
it's
that happening.
to me, I don't think it even matters if it goes below 10 because remember how in February of 2022, we looked at the time. We looked at the price, but you said you looked also at the time,
That's right.
right? Because the markets is based on price and time. It's not just an independent variable of just price only. It's based on time
Yes,
and price. And
that's
you
right.
said that, hey, I noticed that you reevaluated our price targets because the price was supposed to hit 100,000 somewhere in October or November or the end, at latest the end of 2021, and it didn't. So in January, it made you reevaluate your investment thesis that, hey man, it didn't reach the price. Here's our price target, and here's the time target, and
Yes,
we surpassed that time target already, and we are nowhere near our price target. So I think we should start selling, and that's
that's
what I'm
right.
saying now. That's what I'm saying now is that we had a price target of some in that area between 20,000 and 12,000, right? Obviously closer to the 12,000 area, but the time has passed.
Okay, so the time. Okay, let's
Okay.
talk about time. Previous bear markets, the worst of the declines usually lasts around a year, maybe
Yeah.
18 months,
Yeah.
right? And if you consider the top was in November of 2021, it's been more than a year already, right?
Yeah.
And and the second year of a bear market historically has been sideways, right?
Yeah.
Like if you look at the 2018 bear market,
Yeah.
most of the declines, in fact all of the declines by the beginning of 2019 was over, right?
Yeah. So
So so
I'm looking at
so
the chart.
I'm looking at the chart too. I have the chart in front of me. 2018, and really the final, like most of the decline was over by June, and then you had one more leg down in November, right? That last 50% drop was in November,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So by the end of 2019, pretty much the bear market was over, right? But
Yeah.
it lasted about 1 year, and then
Yeah.
2019. I wouldn't call that a bull market. 2019 and most of 2020, like all the
It's
way
just
up
going
until
sideways.
September,
Yeah, we're
it's
just
just
going
going
sideways.
sideways. So
Yeah.
so based on that, it wouldn't surprise me that we are now in that environment. We're not in a. I don't want to call it a bull market, but uh, the bear market is, maybe there's one more leg down,
Yeah.
like there is that, like in November of 2018, right? There's
Yeah.
one more big leg down, and I'm saying that maybe we get that, maybe we don't, right?
Yeah. I
But
agree. I
but
agree.
but even if there is another leg down, even if you were buying all through June, July, August, September, where you're getting around 6,000 or so, right? six thousand
Yeah.
dollars plus or
Yeah.
minus, and there's another leg down, right? There's another
Yeah.
50% down, and yeah, it sucks at the time,
But you still did well in the long term. You
but
still
by
did
the bull
well in the
market,
next moment.
like
Yeah.
okay, yeah, by the bull market, because you can't say that I'm just going to wait for 3,000, because now you're running the risk of missing it completely, right?
Yeah.
You're running the risk of like we don't know, right?
Yeah.
um
Hey.
so so the bull market, I like the bull market, the parabolic run. I think we are probably in this. I think that started in July, the sideways portion of the bear market,
Yeah.
right, where there could be another leg down. But my scenario is that, this sideways choppiness, we might have another leg down, but what I'm expecting is another 1 or 2 years of just sideways action,
Yeah.
like we had in 2019 and most of 2020.
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
that's where we want to
Be dollar
accumulate our
cost.
positions.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's
That's
why we are
that.
dollar cost averaging. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So basically, to clarify, after what you said there, I guess to clarify what I'm saying is the it did not hit the price targets of 12 to somewhere around the 12 $15,000 area
Not yet.
where I
Right?
want to
Not
buy.
yet.
Not yet, but
Not yet.
I think that the bulk, like a large portion of the bear market crash has happened. And yes, I agree that can the market crash another 30, 40, 50%? Yes, it can. But I think that after 2022 is over now, and since the Celsius, the lending crash, the lending market crash happened in June 2022, and then now with the FTX crash in November, and we pretty much rebounded from the FTX crash. Uh, in my opinion, it's fairly quick,
It was
right?
how many weeks? It was like what, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, about 2 months,
Yeah,
8 weeks.
2 months. Yeah, it is
Yeah.
because that's about the amount of time that it takes for for everyone, the entire market to get the data, the news,
Absorb. Yeah.
absorb it and process that data and then decide what to do. So now I'm thinking that because the bulk of the crash has happened, and when I say the bulk, the large portions that hurts a lot, right, has happened. I think that I'm going to start raising my targets from buying around the $12,000 $15,000 area to more so buying around maybe around the $15,000 to $25,000 area. And I'm not
Yeah.
saying that buy all at one time, but I'm saying that
Anyway, I'm
whatever's
look.
close to
We don't control. We
$20,000,
don't control. Look, we don't control the price. So
yeah,
I'm thinking more of. I'm thinking in terms of time, right? I'm thinking
yeah,
in terms of, all right, when where is the bull market? I think the bull. I don't think the bull market is this year, in 2023, right?
yeah,
I think it's somewhere in 2024 is when it's will be obvious to everybody. Okay, the bull market's here, right?
yeah,
Just like in 2021 is when it started to become obvious. All right, we're in a bull market, right?
yeah,
By 2021, it was pretty obvious we had broken all time highs. We were going to the moon, right?
yeah,
I think that is not until 2024 sometime.
yeah. Well,
Right
here's
now,
the
I don't know
thing.
how I don't know how far down
Yeah,
we're going to go. And personally, we don't use leverage,
yeah,
so I don't really care because I can't get margin called out, right? I
yeah,
mean, I care more if
exactly.
you're not using leverage. You don't really care how far down it goes because it's like, okay, you can't force me to sell, right?
Yeah,
But I
and
do care
it,
about time, right? I do care about the time frame. Like, I don't want to have my money trapped there for years and years and years, right? I mean, it's the time portion where you don't want to be too early and then have to sit on losses for 2, 3, 4 years,
yeah,
right?
agreed,
Um,
agreed.
so I'm thinking that rather than picking a price target that may or may not happen, like we don't know, like is it 15,000? Like, does it go back down to 15,000? We don't know. Does it go to
Yeah,
25,000, 30? We don't know, right?
yeah.
But I think that we have a stronger conviction
To start
that
dollar cost averaging.
to start dollar cost averaging whatever the price is, because the bulk of the bear market declines are in,
Yeah,
and I'm just looking to get an average price, right?
yeah,
And so, as an example, like, a good average price for the last bear market is around $6,000, right? Like, if you
yeah,
look at if you start, yeah, it got all the way down to like three, but it was basically, if you just missed the 8 months where the majority of the declines was, and then you just dollar cost averaged all the way until like September of
yeah,
2020, before the bull market began, your average price is around 6 to 8 thousand, right?
yeah.
Somewhere around that.
And that's a really good price. That's a really good buy-in price.
Yeah, that
Yeah,
was a great price. You were like 8x, 10x, right?
yeah,
off that price, 50, 60,000, you were doing, even if you got out around 40, that's still a 4x, right?
Yeah.
A 5, 6x, right? On the safest, on the biggest cryptocurrency, that's still like life changing, depending on how much money you had in it, right? So
Yeah.
I'm thinking that that's the strategy right now. Like, I think the average price here is going to be somewhere, like, if we get down to like 12,000, maybe we can get an average price around 15. But I'm thinking more realistically, it's going to be somewhere around closer to 20.
Yeah. So
Right.
so
Because
so he,
yeah, because I don't because if you wait for 10, if you're like trying, I'm waiting for 12, I'm waiting for 10, like, okay, well,
yeah, it's good, but you could miss
what are you going
it.
to do when that's wrong? Yeah,
Yeah.
what are you going to do when you miss it? Like, what just like we had to admit we were wrong, that Bitcoin
Yeah.
was not going up, and we had to change course, right? We had to
Yeah.
consider, like, let's say you do have the view that it's going below 12,000. Let's just say that's what you think. All right? When do you admit you're wrong?
Yeah, and that's hard to do for most people, for a lot of people,
Yeah.
and for
On the
us
way
too.
up and on the way
When
down, right? On the
yeah,
way up and on the way down, right? Like, when
yeah,
do you, if you let's just pretend, like, because I watch a lot of YouTubers, and people are saying, oh, the bear is, this is a dead cat bounce, right? Bear trap. We're
hmm,
heading right back down. It's going to 12,000, and I'm like, all right, that's fine. You can believe that, but when like, no one has ever said, when are you wrong?
yeah,
When do you, when, if it doesn't hit 12,000, right?
yeah,
Like, what do you need to see to start considering that you were wrong, or you are wrong,
yeah,
and take
and
action to, and take
to
action to start to mitigate that, right?
yeah. So
In case you are wrong.
that's the reason why we teach our students that it's hard to capture 100% or the majority of the move, of the trend move, of the bull market trend, because it takes time for us to look at the data, the market data, and be able to make the decision that, hey, you know what, I need to change my thoughts or my ideology or my investment thesis and start taking action. So from the time that if you look back at 2017 bull market, right? We took profits on the way up until January of 2018, which was when it peaked, right? And I
Yeah.
was still taking profits on the crypto, and I was still selling it. And I think by January 2018, I think that was my last sell. I had a few sales of Ethereum at $1,400. Now,
Yeah.
when I say that, that sounds like, oh man, look at how good Ty is. He sold at the
Yeah, but how
peak,
much did you sell? Not enough, right?
Yeah,
We
no, I only sold it. I sold on the way up from like October, I think. I sold like in Q4 of 2017.
Yeah.
It just so happens that the last few sale transactions I did just happened to be at $1,400. It was like
Yeah, but your
I
average
saw.
price was not $1,400.
No,
Your
of
average
course
price,
not. My average
yeah.
price I think was around maybe. Yeah, I'm just guessing here. Okay, it would be under 1,000. It would be somewhere around
Under a
like,
thousand.
yeah, it'd be somewhere around $800-900 or something, right?
Yeah.
So because
Yeah.
I sold the bulk of it when it cracked 1,000. I said, hey, you know what? If you just pass 1,000, this is a whole even psychologically whole even round number that people. It's just a random number that people say, oh, you know what?
Yeah.
I'm
And
going to
that
sell
was
at
about
a
my average price, right?
yeah,
I think my last sell was in March on the way down. Okay.
yeah,
And it was also around 1,000 on the way down, right?
yeah. If
But
you ask me, did you where did you sell me at 1,400? My answer would be yes. I sold some at 1,000, 1,100, 1,200, 1,300, 1,400, right? But if
yeah.
you ask me, hey, what was your average exit price? I would say it's right below 1,000.
Okay. All
Okay,
right.
so it's, I mean, I can sit there and write that, oh, I sold at the top at $1,400, but that's not, being
Real.
100% truthful,
Yeah. You
so
sold a little bit at
yeah,
1,400, right?
exactly.
Yeah.
I mean, it was
Yeah.
a nice chunk. Don't get me wrong. I sold nice chunks at two at 1,200, 1,300, 1,400. But that's not the average price that I exited at.
Yeah.
But
Okay.
so what I'm saying is this: is that right now, here are some of the things that I think that our students can do, or the people following us can do. Is one is to start dollar cost averaging, because that helps to reduce the emotional stress. Okay, so whether it falls to 10,000 or to 5,000, it really does not matter. Because if you dollar cost average, let's say if it's 20,000 right now as we're talking, and it falls all the way to 5,000, right? There's two questions that we always get from our students is that how much do you buy at a time when you dollar cost average? So let's just cover that real quickly so that it eliminates that confusion for people. Because when you dollar cost average, there are two groups of people. There are groups of people like us right now where we have a lump sum of money. So let's say that you and I have $1 million we want to put into crypto. We have that $1 million sitting there in cash, in US dollars or in stable coins that we can put in there. So in that case, I think that people like in our situation where you have the cash ready or the money ready, then it's just buying on the dip, meaning that every time there's a big crash, like the Celsius crash, like the FTX crash, then we just buy, and we split that money up. Like let's say we have $1 million, let's just, mentally or mathematically split it up into like 10 chunks, right? Or 5 chunks.
100,000 each, right?
Yeah, 100,000 each.
Yeah, and we want to do it. Let's say we want to do that over a whole year, right? Let's just say we believe the bull market, the bull market's is gonna run in 2024, right?
Yeah.
So we're talking we're talking like another 11 months, right?
Yeah.
Just maybe divide by 10 as a round number, right? If you like to use round numbers.
Yeah.
And 100,000, you got 10 shots of 100,000.
Yeah.
And just like when you see an opportunity, when we have our shopping list, right?
Yeah.
Of coins we want to buy, right?
Yeah.
And whichever one of anytime there's an opportunity, there's a big dip in any one of the things any one of the coins that's on our list that we want to buy.
Yeah.
For that month, like okay, so I want to put $1 million to work for the rest of the year. That's like 100,000 per month, right?
Yeah. So hey, just real quick too, so that the students are not confused, right? Let's also define what's considered a dip. Okay, and I think that let's do it mathematically so that our students there's no confusion. So we look at the average true range of the price of Bitcoin on a daily chart. So for example, right now it's around like $570, $580. It's somewhere near $600, right? So let's just round off to $600 so the math is easy while I'm talking. So let's say the price of Bitcoin moves up and down on average of $600 a day. And you can find that data by looking at the average true range indicator for that coin, right? So for Bitcoin right now, it's near $600. Let's round it off to $600. I would say a dip is anything that's above that, like let's say 150 or 200% of that daily ATR, that daily average true range. So let's say that it moves an average of $600 a day, and tomorrow we wake up and the market just crashed $1,200. Then I would consider that a dip.
Okay.
If it's more than, if it's 2x the average daily range, because if we say buy the dip, our students don't know, like if the market crashes, if it moves an average of $600 a day and tomorrow they wake up and it crashes $100, is that considered a dip? If tomorrow it crashes $300, is that considered a dip? Just because it's a down day does not mean it's a dip. A dip means that it's way above average. Wouldn't you say that's
it's like, and typically those happen when there's an event, right? When something negative happens. Usually those days also correspond to the government said something bad, or there was a hack.
Yeah.
Or something happened on that platform, that caused that, right? So a lot of these dips also come with negative news.
Yeah, it's usually caused by short-term news that impacts the market. Like for example, right? Like the price moves an average of $600 a day, and yesterday the market crashed because the Department of Justice in America announced that they arrested the founder of the Hong Kong exchange called Bitslotto, which no one's ever heard of, and we don't know who the Russian guy is, right? And it crashed from 21,000, like somewhere around 21,600 down to 20,300. So that's more than double the daily ATR. right?
Yeah.
So that would be
Okay.
considered a dip. That would be considered a dip, and I would say that would be a good opportunity to buy. Those are the opportunities that we are looking for when you have money available, waiting to go into the markets, and there's
Yeah.
you look at the daily
And I
ATR.
think the other thing is to space that out in time, right? Like you don't do this every time that happens. You're like, all right, this month,
Yeah,
I'm gonna put like 100,000 to work. Let's say I have $1 million, and
yeah,
I want to put 100,000 for the rest of this over the course. I want to get a good average price over this year, right? Like
yeah.
by December, I
Yeah, so
want
so
like a nice average price for the whole year.
Yeah, so basically, if you have the capital and the money available already to go into the markets, then that's the strategy I would use. Just
Okay.
take your money, divide it into 10 chunks or 5 chunks or whatever, right? And every time there's a dip in the market, and what is a dip? A dip is anything that's more than 2 times the daily ATR. Okay, and then you just buy it
Okay.
in. So let's say we bought we take $1 million and we divide into 10 chunks of $100,000 each. Yesterday, when the market dipped like that, we would buy the $100,000 and we just wouldn't look at it again until next month.
That's right.
Right now, here's the thing. That's if you have time. Like for me, I have 4 kids. I don't have time for that shit, man. I really don't. I don't have to go into my hardware wallet.
Well,
I'm
look, if you just buy a fixed amount
yeah,
on a given day, that works
right.
too.
Yeah,
I know one of our followers. He had a job.
yeah,
He just said, you know what? I got $500 I can take out of my paycheck every month to buy bitcoins with. And of course, this was back in 2012, 2013. The 2014.
yeah.
And he just set his Coinbase on a recurring automatic
Hey,
recurring buy,
yeah.
and
Okay, so
and that
I
was
yeah, so buying we can set up on an automatic monthly purchase also, But before we talk about that,
yeah.
let me finish this about if for the people who have money already. For the people who have money already, you can buy, space it out, and make a purchase, a dip once a month, or once a quarter, or once a week. However you do it, just do it consistently, right? And
That's right.
then for the people like myself who have the money already to go into the markets but don't have time, then what I personally prefer to do is instead of splitting it up into like 10 chunks of 100,000 each, I would rather just buy like $500,000 chunks at a time. And I'm willing to sit through a 50% drawdown because I just don't want to take my hardware wallet in and out, in and out, in and out, and have to deal with it when I got 4 kids.
Sure.
Right? So I'm just giving options to people who so that our students can see that even though you and I
Yeah,
both
I mean, you
have
can you can get bigger chunks over longer
yeah
periods of time, right? And
yeah
you'll probably statistically you'll also get an average price. It just might be higher or lower
yeah
than the
and
actual average.
yeah, and if you have $1 million to put in or more to put into the crypto market, like 300,000, 500,000, or $1 million, it should not even really matter at that point. It
No,
really
no, it
it
doesn't.
doesn't, right? Now that's for the. We just talked about a few scenarios and examples for the people that have the money to put in the markets already. So now let's switch gears and talk about the scenario you just talked about, where somebody does not have the money to put into the crypto right away, but they have extra money from a monthly paycheck or from a weekly paycheck or from a rental income where they don't have a lump sum like we do to put into the market right away, but they have a small chunk of money that they can put in
Yeah,
like once a week or once a month. Then for those people, the time to buy would just be the same time every month.
that's right.
Because that's what you and I did when before we had a
That's
lump
right.
sum,
That's right. We just
right?
we just we just
Yeah,
dollar cost average that way too, right? And
yeah.
you just buy you just consistently buy and that's probably the most
The easiest, the least
the
stressful
easiest,
ways.
less stressful way.
Mm-hmm.
You don't really care because in fact if the market crashes you get more coins, right?
Yeah, exactly. And that
Because
that
you're not buying to sell it. Tomorrow, right? You're buying it for the next bull market.
exactly. And so when you do that, I believe that the people who are still working a day job, that should be the method that they use. Is that
Yeah.
2 weeks when they get a paycheck, they take out $100 or $200 and they buy some crypto with it. And the first coin that I would buy is Bitcoin, because that makes up about almost 60% of the entire portfolio of the Taifu index portfolio. So if you hold on to Bitcoin and the market crashes another 50%, at least you're holding on to the most valuable coin in the market that has already proven that it can get back on its feet and come back up, recover after 7 market cycles already. It has proven 7 times already that it can crash. An average of the average crash is around 76%. Yeah, in the last 7 cycles since Bitcoin started trading in 2010, we've had 7 cycles, right? 7 bear markets, and Bitcoin has proven it can come back and make new highs 7 times already. And the average bear market was minus 76% in those 7 market cycles.
Yeah.
Right. So that's why I would say that now, if you're working a day job and you don't have a lump sum set aside to invest into the markets like you and I do, I think those people just need us every 2 weeks or every month when they get their paycheck, take out a small piece of that paycheck and buy Bitcoins with it. And then they don't even have to think about what is a good price, because they're buying during the entire bear market. And the only thing they have to focus on is setting their financial goals and being ready to sell in the bull market. That's it.
Right.
They reduce half of the mental stress in trading and investing by not even worrying about what's the best price, if they just buy on a frequent basis and consistently buy at the same time every month.
Yeah.
Right? And we have students already that follow us that have done that from their paychecks, and they have become multimillionaires and made life-changing profits. And the only thing they had to focus on was taking profits. That's the only...
And setting goals. That's right.
Yeah. Setting goals and then taking profits and taking action when it's time to take action. Because the time to buy, you agree that we have months to buy. We have months and years to buy, but we only have a few weeks to sell when it's time to sell.
That's right. There's only a window of a few months to sell.
Yeah. Okay. So I hope that this conversation, and I think this is the first time we recorded a phone conversation.
Right.
Well, I've been trying out hundreds of apps, and one of our students finally pointed out this recording feature on the Samsung phones. So it's actually, I'm using a screen recorder to record our screen.
Yeah. All right, Ty. Okay. Hey, I got to run here. Okay.
All right, man. All right. Good discussion, and I hope this helps out our students. And if you guys want to learn more about how Leon and I teach our students to make life-changing profits in the crypto market, you can learn more about our methodology and system at www.cryptocurrency.market/blueprint. Thanks, guys. I'll see you later, Leon.